Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode here on Dangerous African Confessions HD. In this episode, we have a story from one of our brothers. He shares with us his life journey, the pain, anguish, and suffering that he has been through. In this very story, our brother tells us how he made his money and the kind of things that led him to this path that he chose. He talks about the kind of life and treatment the wife gave him after he lost his job, and even went as far as coming to the house late and even preventing him from touching her in the bedroom. Without taking much of your time, let us go and listen to her story. Don't forget to please subscribe, share and like our videos. Kindly hit the notification bell so you will be the first to get notification to our videos when we upload.
Hello brother, how are you? I would like you to share my story with my fellow brothers who are listening to you each and every day. Please do share my story as anonymous. This is about my own life and how I came from a very poor background to make money in no time. This money-making process, even though I didn't kill anyone, I have paid a very big sacrifice. And that is the main reason I want to share my story with others so they can also be aware of dangers in trying to make money through these methods. I will not call myself a perfect person on this planet. But as human as I am, I try to do the best that I can in any situation that I did find myself. That has always been my life for all these years. Even though I wasn't born a rich person, I still managed to be more happy in my life. Then I was blessed with a very beautiful woman who I got married to. She has been the source of happiness to me over the years. But then, as I moved through life, a lot of things changed for me and my wife in our marriage. You see, as a man, one thing you should know is that there are only to a point that any woman can take when it comes to hardship. They all have a point where they will break down. No matter how hard they try to be positive about the situation. That is exactly what happened in our marriage. I saw my wife changed over the period of my difficulties. I am not saying she married me as a rich person. But then, there was something that was bringing me some small amount. But when I lost it all, she changed totally. This sudden change made me to think a lot. She will go out without telling me anything, and also come back anytime she wants. What did hit me to the core is that I one day asked her where she was coming from at that ungodly hour. She told me that she went to where her fantasies are met, where she gets the happiness she deserves as a woman. I am someone who doesn't talk about my wife with her family. It is her friend that I was always talking to about the whole situation. She then told me one day to put everything aside and tell the parents about it. I did just as the friend had said. And her father promised to talk to her about what I was saying. But then, I heard her mother saying that I should also act as a man and make sure that I meet her daughter's needs. This made the father angry and gave the mother a piece of his mind. But I pleaded with the man not to argue over the issue. So I asked for my leave and left the house. That was the last time I ever decided to step foot in their house to talk about my wife again. I told her friend about what her mother said to me. She told me that I should just focus on our son and make sure I do everything right for him. I couldn't just watch my wife slip through my fingers like that. Honestly, brother, I took to drinking. I started to drink and it got to a point where I would drink and even sleep at the place till at dawn. When I come back to myself, then I would go home. This is someone that I have loved with all my heart. And to see her treat me this way was something that I couldn't handle. As someone who knew a bit about construction, I started going from site to site to check if there was any construction going on so I can be part of the laborers and then get paid at the end of the day. I got to meet this guy who was in charge of one building going on. So I talked to him about my situation and he allowed me to go and work on his site. That was how I was going to work each day to make provision for my son. When I close and I am going home, I know I will not get food to eat because I couldn't provide money for the house. That way the small by day money that will be given to me, I will buy kenki and then go and eat. In the morning, I will put the rest on the table before I will leave the house to the site. So that, at least my son can also eat. I came home late one evening, and it was around 10 p.m. and saw that my wife was not in the house. My son was still not asleep. I asked him where his mother was, and he said that she left house and don't know where she had gone to. I asked him to go to bed and I was sleeping by him when I heard a car's engine buzzing. I got up and looked through the window and I saw my wife getting down from a private car. She got down from the car and I saw from the window that the driver was a man. So this was the person who she said gives her the fantasy and happiness she deserves. She came into the room and I did not ask her anything. She went straight to the bathroom and took her bath. When she came to bed, I tried to touch her and she said that she was tired and was not in the mood for anything. This time, it had been about 5 months that she had not given herself to me. I wanted to know why she was denying me of my right as a husband. She didn't even mind me. The next morning that I went to the site, I couldn't walk. I didn't even notice when the owner of the building came to the site. I was lost in my thoughts. He asked one of the workers to come and call me. At that time, he was in his car. I felt maybe he was going to tell me to stop working on his site. But then he had a conversation about why I was in that state with me. He seemed to be so much concerned about what I have been feeling and going through. I told him everything that had been happening to me. And even went ahead to tell him it all started when I lost my job. He told me not to worry. I shouldn't let it put me in that state. He gave me some money and also gave me his car to call him later when we close. I called him as soon as I got to the house and he told me to meet him at a place where he showed me. I asked about work and he said he would call the foreman to tell him about my absence. So I went to meet him the next day. And he came there in a different car from what he was driving the day before. He gave me a lot of hope and courage about life. And then told me that all women are like that, but then it takes a man of influence to tame any woman he meets. He said again that women do answer to affluence, so I should have it at the back of my mind that no matter how hard I try to make my wife see reasons with me, she will not. But rather, she will always see the negative things in anything I do. I asked him how I can change that about my life. He looked at me for some time and smiled. He said that he will help me out but not now. He said he wanted to know how much I am willing to fight for money. He told me that money will never come to you if you do not fight for it like you are fighting for a woman or something precious to you. I told him I was ever ready to do anything to be free of the life that I was in. He smiled again and said that time will tell. I told him that he sober know what I am feeling inside. I am only quiet because I do not know anyone who will direct me to where I can do spiritual things to turn my life around. That statement I made him to look at me in a way. He tapped on my shoulder and said that he didn't bring me to the place for that reason, but because of what I have said, he will link me with a man who he knows can help me. Fast forward, I was introduced to the man by this my boss and he told the man that I am his personal person so the man should treat me with care and respect. So after some conversations with this new man, he told me that we will have to go and meet his spiritual father in the northern region of this country. So he asked me of how much I have on me. I told him I would get back to him. I got up and called my boss. I told him about what the man is asking me. He told me that I should tell him whatever the amount is, he will send it to him. So I told the man exactly what he said. We agreed on the day we will move to go and see his spiritual father. At this point, I told myself that whatever will happen I am ready for it. Because my dignity was being violated by my own wife. I needed to also be somebody to prove her wrong about me. So, I went with this man to the northern border of our country. And when we got to this place where his spiritual father was, there was this many mud houses on the compound. I was given one room to sleep in and the man was also given his own room. At first, because I was a bit nervous, I wanted to have the same room with him but they insisted we sleep in our separate rooms. The next morning after every conversation was done, the first set of rituals and cleansing was done for me. After that, I was told the spiritual father was not around and he would come the following day so I should relax. The next morning I was sitting under a tree with the man I had gone with, when an old man came to the house. As soon as he entered, all of them went on their knees as a sign of great reverence for him. I didn't understand but I also did exactly that. After some time, I was called together with the man that took me there. The old man also asked why we were there, and the man told him everything. He told me that he can help me get money, but it demands things that might seem off. If only I was ready, I would leave his place as a wealthy man. I told him I was ever ready to do anything he wants me to do, so far as at the end, I will make money. I spent about 4 days going through all the rituals that was needed to be done. At the end of it all, the man told me that particular evening, I will have to go into a particular room that he showed me. He told me that I will have to sleep with the entity that was in the room. At this point, I was a bit pushed back because I didn't think of anything of that sort. But then, I had already come this far, and this was the only thing left and is standing between me and making money. I encouraged myself and vowed in my mind that, no matter what I will meet there, I will sleep with it and have my money. That night, I was called to go and enter the room because it was time. I did enter the room. And honestly, the place was dark, but you could feel the room was very heavy. And again, it was obvious something was in the room but not human. I heard a voice called out my name and asked me if I want to see it like its own form or wanted to see it in a human form. I responded that I wanted to see it in a human form. It told me to cover my eyes, and I did just that. In about some few minutes, it said I should open my eyes. I did, and there was this lantern which was previously not there when I entered. And there was this beautiful woman who was on a bed in the room. She asked me to join her. At this point, I knew any mistake I would do could cost me my life. So, I gathered every courage that was left in me and I went to the bed. She held me, and it was like I was in a deep freeze zone. The place had become cold all of a sudden, and I could hear a sound like I was at the seashore. Exactly that sound. She told me she will give me everything that I was looking for if only I do what she wants. I told her I would do anything she will ask of me, provided she will also make me rich beyond my understanding. She laughed and told me to finish what I came to the room to do. And when I am done, I will see what will happen. And so, I did what I went there to do with her. After the act, she asked me to turn and see something. I turned, and it was a bag full of money. She told me that it belongs to me. As excited as I was, I went to the bag and checked. It was filled with different currencies. She called me and said something after showing me the money. She said that at the end of every month, she would come to my place and make love to me. That was my sacrifice for the money I am taking from her. She then told me that, because she's a jealous woman, she wouldn't like to share me with anyone. And so, she forbids me to sleep with any woman unless she tells me to.
Like I always say, these are not just stories for story's sake. They are meant for us not to make these mistakes our brothers and sisters are making. That's why we share these stories with you. Sometimes some of these stories comes in as a shock to us. Because if a human can go to the extent like this to have money, then we are capable of doing anything just to satisfy our desires. I understand the situations that leads people into some of these paths. This is the more reason why, as a person experiencing this life, you should be desperate enough. Because if you get to that point, anything that will be proposed to you as an alternative to your suffering, you will accept it without thinking carefully about the consequences. I know our followers and listeners will also share their thoughts and comments, but this kind of means to make it in life is not good. And not something that we should put our life in. Always there is going to be a but at the end of whatever that seems so much better to you. If only your wealth do come from such a source, you will always live to pay with something huge. I pray that we learn from some of these stories and live a better life. If not for anything at all, it pays to live a decent and better life. Stay blessed and be safe. Thanks for being a part of this growing family. Kindly share your thought with us in the comment section below. And if you are new here, please subscribe, like and share.